Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a very highly requested video, and this is a video about employment in Lush. And ever since I did my Sephora employment tips slash why I quit slash all that good stuff, people have been constantly asking me for a Lush version, so that's what I'm doing today. Can we just talk about this highlight though? Jaclyn Hill, your bae, honestly. Like, what is that? Just amazingness. So if you guys don't know what Lush Cosmetics is, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know, it's basically like a bath and body store. It's very similar to The Body Shop. Their products are natural and they have like really cool bath and body products. Very innovative, I might add. And yeah, it has definitely blown up within the past year and a half. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know what Lush is. So one day I was walking through the mall and I saw that a brand new Lush was opening. So I decided, why not apply? And this was the May right after I turned 18. I believe it was May or April. Somewhere around there. And yeah, so I applied and I got called in to do an interview, and it was a huge group interview. Everyone got group interviewed that time. And yeah, I wore a black pair of leggings and a white blouse with a leather jacket and boots. I looked very casual. I didn't feel like I needed to dress super up, like, I don't know. It's just not that type of vibe when you go interview at Lush. Like, I've seen people freaking come in their pajamas. Now, would I recommend you coming in your pajamas? Probably not. But, yeah, just don't overdo it, you know? Because everyone there, like, honestly, one great thing about Lush is they don't really give a shit what you look like. Like, you could look any way you want. You could have tattoos, piercings, blue hair, no hair. Doesn't matter what gender you are, what race you are. They really just don't care as long as you have the qualities to work there. So yeah, I walk into the interview. I felt so vanilla because I'm literally like, there's nothing special about me when you just look at me. I'm just like, okay, cool. I just look like plain old Jane. And everyone was like tatted and piercings and they had cool hair. And yeah, so we sat down. The first thing we did was we had to get to know the person next to us. We had to learn their name, and then we introduced the person next to us. I suck at remembering names, so that was very hard for me. I like literally almost forgot the girl's name that was sitting next to me. But yeah, that was kind of bad. So after we introduced ourselves, basically we split off into 3 groups, and each group was with a different person, like a different like manager or whatever. And we did like tests. So the first thing, I mean, everyone had a different first thing, but the first thing I did was we did demos on the skin. And this is very important if you're looking to work at Lush. You really need to be comfortable touching somebody else, because when you go into a Lush store, when you work there, you're supposed to demo the products on people's hands. So you just need to be very comfortable with that. And you need to sell the product as well. So while you're doing that, you need to sell. So we did that with the massage bar. And then the other station was Charity Pot, which is like one of Lush's biggest things, is like their charity pot. They want you to really know about it and stuff. And then we got to individually interview with the manager of my store. And the way Lush's system is set up is each store has a manager, and the manager runs the store. Every so often, like sometimes somebody else will come in, kind of do like a nice check and stuff, but basically your manager is your boss, and that's the only person that you kind of answer to, and they run your store. So that's kind of what that is. So the manager had the power to choose whoever she wanted to be working there. So the questions were super simple interview questions. Why do you want to work here? Have you heard about Lush? What's this? What's that? I just gave pretty generic answers. I didn't give anything special or anything like that. I acted like myself, because honestly, to me, it's like I don't want to pretend to be someone and then the whole time while I'm working there I have to put up a facade. So it's like, just be yourself. If it's meant to be, you're gonna get hired, and if not, then maybe it's not the job for you. A couple days later, I got an email saying that I got hired. I was super ecstatic. I was very, very happy that I got hired. Now, because my store was a brand new store, we had to go to training for, I think it was a week or 2 weeks at a hotel. And this was, the hotel that we were at was the Marriott. I think it was the Marriott in Universal Studios. We didn't sleep there or anything, but we had full 8-hour training days there. And that was just to familiarize ourselves with the product and just kind of get a feel for what a Lush store is supposed to feel like. If you don't go into a new store, which chances are you're probably going to go into an existing store, what happens is you train while you're on the floor working. So it might be a little overwhelming because there are a lot of products that you need to know about and you need to talk about. But as time goes by, it gets much easier, and yeah, you just kind of learn as you go. I got hired on as a sales associate, and then there were a few people that got hired on as key holders, which are basically key holders. So it's like you open and close the store, you have a little bit more power in the store and all that stuff. So after a few months, I got promoted to key holder. So one thing about Lush is it's very easy to grow with the company if it's something that you want to do. I find that a lot of people don't really know what it feels like to work at Lush. It's a very different kind of environment, and it is very, very draining when you work there because it's like you're on 24/7. And to be honest, I feel like I would get more mentally drained at Lush than I would at Sephora. Sephora, I was just like constantly tired because there's a lot of people. But at Lush, it's like you have to make real connections with every single person you talk to. And not that I'm complaining, because I actually enjoyed it. Like, I really did like it, but it does really, really wear you out mentally to make so many connections in one day. Or the way Lush is, and this is one of the main reasons why I quit, it's very aggressive. Like, you need to be super aggressive with your customer because you want them to buy as much as possible. And sometimes I felt like that was so overwhelming. Like, I hate that. And I personally sometimes don't even go into Lush stores even when I need something, because I don't want that like aggressive salesperson coming up to me and making me buy things that I necessarily don't need. And clearly, like, we're human beings and sometimes we get suckered into buying things, and I just don't think it's right to force people to buy things. So that kind of bothered me. And when you didn't do that, your superiors would kind of yell at you and say, well, you need to be more aggressive. You need to sell more. You need to add more to the basket. And honestly, like, sometimes I'd just be like, no, not gonna do it. Like, people necessarily don't always have the money to buy an extra thing, you know? So I just felt like it was so pushy, and sometimes that would really bother me and it would piss me off because I know that I don't like when I go into a store for people to do that to me. So another thing that I don't feel is great about Lush, but honestly, I haven't worked there for like a year and a half, so I'm not sure if it's still like this, but the management system is super, super messy, and everything is like all over the place, and it's kind of like every person for themselves, and it's just like, it didn't feel like a company. And just to compare Sephora and Lush really quickly, Sephora, like, you go into work, you do your business, and you come home, right? With Lush, it's like I would bring the workplace home with me. I didn't feel like I had a life outside of Lush because so much was put on us as associates, and it was just a lot, you know? It's like we would worry about everything. If we didn't make the goal for the day, we would all be sad, and it was just like too much to handle, I feel like, for the pay. But I don't know, that's just me. And honestly, like, in my last video, in my Sephora video, I feel like a lot of you guys were being super, super mean to me and being negative. I just don't want this video to turn like that. I don't want to answer to people's negative comments or anything like that. I'm making these videos because I want to help people and give people an insight to where they're going to work or where they want to work. So please don't leave your negative, nasty comments. These are my opinions. And yeah, I feel like I need to say this thing about management because it's one of the most important things that I feel like every Lush employee complains about, and it's the way that the management is handled and the way that situations are handled. So it just gets to the point where you're just like, I am not getting paid enough to freaking run a store. And yeah, at that point, I was just already looking for a new job, and I stumbled across Sephora and I applied and I got hired and I quit. And honestly, it wasn't like one event that made me quit. It was just kind of like all of those things piled on top of each other. And I was just getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I don't need to do this. Like, I could find a better job and I could go work somewhere else. clearly there are people that love to work at Lush, and that's fine. I have people that I know that love working there, but it's not for everyone. If you're not like, I don't know, it's just not for everyone. I know I've said a lot of cons, but a few pros, and honestly, this is like the truth. I've met some of my closest friends through Lush, and I had so much fun going to work. And I don't know, it's just a nice, happy environment. They give you a lot of like, well, I don't know how it is now, but we used to get like a lot of free stuff. And the discount is 50%, which is crazy because Sephora's discount was 20%, which is nothing compared to 50%. And yeah, they're just like really nice and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But there are a lot of underlying issues that come with that. So it's like, it could be both a pro and a con. I'm not sure. But yeah, and then what else did I need to say? You do get raises. I think like is it yearly that you're supposed to get a raise or something like that? Yeah. I started off working there at $10 an hour, and I know this is kind of taboo to talk about how much you get paid, but people were asking me in my last video, so I'm like, why not? I don't work there anymore. So I started off at $10, and then eventually it went to like $10.50, and then I think I'm not sure what I ended at actually. I think I ended at like $11.50 or something like that. I really can't remember, but I did get a few raises here and there. Nothing major. It's like a 50-cent raise or whatever. And then also another thing that I want to say is it's not necessarily a full-time job. It's very hard for someone to work at Lush full-time because they are extremely cheap with their hours. Like, that is the worst. At least Sephora, I had weeks where I was working 30-something hours a week. With Lush, it's like, forget that. Like, you're never going to have 30-something hours unless maybe it's the holidays. So, yeah, you're not going to be working full-time. So, don't count on it unless you're a manager or MIT. I actually did one of the hiring fairs at Lush, so I was able to kind of choose people that were going to come work for our store. And just to give you guys insight on what it felt like to be on the other side, basically what they're looking for is people that are super happy, super just enthusiastic, and they're excited to sell the product. They love the product. But I will tell you one thing, because every manager is different, there might be some managers that like super mellow people. There might be some managers that like super hyper people. Like, it's just so different. So what I would recommend to anyone that's wanting to work there or is going for an interview, I would go into the store and say, hey, can I speak to your manager? And just kind of come up with some bullshit conversation to have, just so you kind of get the feel of that person. And I'm not saying, oh, conform into that person. No, I'm just saying, like, if you notice that she's more of like a mellow type of gal or guy, then you want to keep your attitude a little mellow and chill. But if you notice that she's like, she or he is like super hyper and stuff, then I would be super enthusiastic as well. So you just kind of want to get a feel for the person that's about to hire you. And yeah, once again, even when I did the hiring fair, we kind of had the same station set up. So most of the time you're going to have a demo station, you're going to have a one-on-one interview, and then you're going to have something that you need to describe the product. So that's it. Just a few little tidbits I want to add. As far as uniform goes, you don't have a uniform. You just have to wear black and white. And obviously, like, no logos or anything like that. And then an apron, which they provide for you. And what else? You do get paid sick time and paid vacation time, so that's pretty cool. And the busiest you're ever gonna be is during the holidays, and it is a pain in the ass during the holidays. It's very busy, especially the fact that, like, most of the stuff at Lush doesn't have barcodes and you need to hand wrap soap. So it gets super busy, super stressful, but that's only for like 2-3 weeks, and then it mellows out again. Depending on where you work, it's not a super hyper store. So like, you should be fine if you're not ready to go into that super busy kind of store. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like my thoughts are very scattered when it comes to this subject. I don't have like, I feel like for my Sephora video, I had like points I wanted to cover, but for this video, it's just all over the place. So if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, go ahead and leave them down below and I will comment back my answer for it. Okay guys, so that's the end of this video. I once again apologize if it was super scattered and all over the place. I hope I answered all your questions. And a little side note, if you guys want a tutorial on this hair, then just let me know and I will gladly film it for you. And I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, I think that's it. What a miracle. She's gonna stop talking. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!